In a world where time is a treacherous maze, an archaeologist named Hopper seeks the legendary Fountain of Youth, hoping to uncover the fate of his missing family. Amidst ancient ruins and shocking revelations, loyalty and ethics collide as he confronts the price of knowledge. How far would you go to save those you love when every choice could change time itself? If you want to dive into real stories of parallel realities every day in enigmatic, technological worlds that are completely different from our planet, subscribe to our channel and leave your like. Well, let's go. In a world where time twists and bends, the air felt rich with anticipation and unspoken secrets. The dim light of a forgotten cave bathed everything in an eerie glow, illuminating the ancient stone walls, which were adorned with cryptic markings that had withstood the test of time. The air was thick, not just with dust but with history, with lives that had come and gone, sometimes forgotten and sometimes revered. Hopper, a passionate archaeology professor in his 40s with tousled dark hair and piercing blue eyes that sparkled with curiosity, stepped carefully over the crumbling stones. Every careful movement was echoed by the heavy panting of his loyal canister boss. The canine companion, with his sleek black fur and intelligent golden eyes, followed with an unwavering loyalty that had been cultivated over years of shared adventures. Together they descended deeper into the cavern, their breaths mingling with the thick dust that had settled like a shroud. Hopper's heart raced not just from the thrill of discovery, but from the desperate quest that pushed him forward, the search for his missing family. Months earlier, just after a fateful expedition, they vanished without a trace, lured by whispers of a legendary fountain said to grant eternal youth. The familial bond that he so deeply cherished now felt like a ghostly shadow, haunting him with every echo in the cave. It was as if the cave itself held its breath, waiting for Hopper to make the next move. Flickers of torchlight danced mischievously across the cave walls, revealing reminders of the lives that once thrived in this deeply hidden realm. In these uncharted depths, stories of lost souls and mythical encounters swirled in his mind, each more captivating than the last. The tales of explorers before him echoed through time, their dreams and disappointments intermingling with his own. As they pressed onward, a flicker of movement caught Hopper's eye, and an astonishing sight halted him in his tracks. Entrapped in a crystalline stasis was a cowboy, his rugged face etched with expressions of astonishment and disbelief, frozen in time beneath a sheet of translucent crystal. The man's attire, reminiscent of a bygone era, included a tattered hat, weathered leather boots, and a belt adorned with a holstered sidearm. His blue eyes, vivid and intense, seemed to follow Hopper. The cowboy was a relic of a history long past, juxtaposed against the mysterious allure of the present. Hopper's mind raced with questions. Who was this man? What chain of events had led to his ensnarement within the crystal prison? The ambiguity of the cowboy's existence intertwined with the very essence of the cave. As initial shock settled, curiosity triumphed over trepidation. He felt drawn to the enigmatic figure, sensing he might hold a key to understanding the cave's hidden truths. But outside, the clock was ticking. Tayla, Hopper's determined assistant, a woman in her late 20s with fiery red hair and a quick wit, and Jack, tall and athletic with an intense drive and a knack for problem-solving, awaited news. Their concerns swelled as silence loomed, the thin line between worry and fear as fragile as the markings on the cave walls. They had entered this journey together, but with each passing moment of Hopper's absence, an unmistakable dread settled in. As night fell, darkness wrapped around them, amplified by the cave's oppressive confines. Each drip of water echoed like a heartbeat. Time itself had taken on an eerie quality, simultaneously progressing and standing still. Hopper's thoughts spiraled. Curiosity might lead him down a path darkened by unknown dangers, Yet the allure of the unknown was like a siren's call, impossible to resist. The desire to unravel the mysteries of the cave overshadowed caution, pulling him deeper into the shadows. Every new detail heightened his obsession, unraveling layers of the cave's secrets. Strange inscriptions wrapped around the walls, flickering faintly in the torchlight. They whispered of ancient rituals, once sacred to inhabitants now lost to the sands of time. The markings spoke of journeys taken, sacrifices made, and a fountain that did more than grant youth. It offered the possibility of transcending time itself. In this moment, Hopper seemed a figure caught in a tale unraveling too quickly. As he affirmatively decided to delve into the cave's enigmas alone, the shadows twisted, seeming to brew with the spirits of those who had come before him. His resolve drew him deeper, oblivious to the world he left behind, Tayla and Jack in worry. The universe conspired cleverly, as if sensing that each choice came with heavy consequences. Through the darkness, echoes of time reverberated off the stalactites, and the flickering light illuminated a path that felt both inviting and foreboding. The air hummed with energy, vibrating with emotions long past. It tasted of fear and hope, ambition and hubris, a cautionary blend that would haunt any who dared seek its depths. Emerging from shadows, impossibly strange bioluminescent fungi dotted the walls, casting an ethereal glow that revealed even more cryptic symbols. Each glowing organism pulsed to a forgotten rhythm as if responding to the heartbeat of the cavern itself. Serving as reluctant sentinels of this grave place, they seemed to offer fleeting memories of exploration and discovery, no friend to the casual visitor. For a moment, the cave felt alive, as if it had been awaiting a presence that would awaken its sleeping truths. Just as he began to decipher the last line of an inscription echoing with long-forgotten incantations, a grating noise surged through the chamber, startling him. The sound reverberated against the stone, breaking the moment of engrossing wonder. Instinctively, Hopper's body tensed. The cave manifested ever more mysteries and dangers that brushed against his instincts. Was this merely a rock slide or the cave itself playing tricks on him? The change in atmosphere thickened, suffused with a sensation that chilled him to his core. An unseen presence seemed to shift within the darkening corners of the cavern, resonating with years of lost hope and despair that lingered like a whispered warning. Meanwhile, Tayla and Jack stood outside, layers of concern etched into their faces as moments stretched into hours. They found themselves analyzing every sound that crept from the cave's gaping maw. Something was wrong. It began as a small whisper and swelled into a tidal wave of unease. Despite their instincts, dread twisted their minds and stoked the fires of their determination to uncover the truth. But for Hopper, just as he began to fathom the enormity of the cave's secrets, an echo of footsteps broke the spellbinding silence that encased the room. The shadows contorted, morphing both fascinating and terrifying. As the cave shifted around him, the cowboy's gaze remained locked on Hopper, an unyielding connection binding them unknowingly. Hours slipped by like grains of sand through an hourglass, and with each passing moment, Tayla and Jack felt their concern for Hopper intensify. The darkness of the cave loomed eerily around them, the silence almost deafening as they stood outside the cavern's maw, nerves taut as they collected their thoughts. Tayla, her heart racing in a rhythm matching the uneasy pulse of the cave, exchanged worried glances with Jack. They were aware that time was not merely slipping away, it felt as though it was being twisted, distorted, and perhaps even consumed by the very darkness they faced. Hopper's vehicle sat abandoned at the cave entrance, a grim harbinger of his fate. Its metal frame, dulled and scuffed, reflected their frantic emotions. The vehicle seemed to whisper unanswered questions, twisted metal holding traces of adrenaline-infused moments and memories of laughter shared in safer times. Although it once was a lifeline in their exploratory ambitions, it now served as a potent reminder of the uncertainties that had befallen their friend. Driven by a mixture of dread and resolve, Tayla was determined to find Hopper, not only because he was her mentor, but because the ties of family, shared dreams, and mutual respect had connected them all as one unit. She knew Hopper would have done the same for them, evidenced by the times he had pulled her back from reckless decisions fueled by her fervor for discovery. With her partner, Kara, by her side, Tayla took a deep breath, anchored herself in reality, and voiced the intent to venture into the cave. Jack hesitated, the air around them so thick it felt as though it could contain the weight of their fears. As they stepped into the cavern, the change in atmosphere was palpable. A shiver ran down Tayla's spine. The darkness was akin to a heavy cloak draped over the shoulders of the explorers. Shadows danced ominously upon the rock walls, and whispers of confusion seemed to slither through the air, wrapping around them like tendrils. Every step echoed loudly, amplifying their anxiety as they descended deeper into the unknown. With each meter crossed, they encountered peculiar carvings in the cavern walls, ancient symbols appearing as ghostly outlines in the dim light of their headlamps. Tayla paused to examine them. The glyphs radiated a sense of history, a sign of a people who had possibly inhabited these depths long before their time. Each curve and jagged line seemed to tell tales of lost glories, of lives interwoven with the bowels of the earth, urging them to reflect on their purpose. What sacrifices had others made to navigate these twisting mazes, to uncover the secrets buried within? As they pushed forward, an unsettling stillness enveloped them, the only sound their collective breaths and the faint trickle of unseen waters. Suddenly, an ominous crack echoed through the cavern, a sound that sent surges of fear coursing through their veins. Before they could process the noise, rocks cascaded down from above, transforming the cavern into a dangerous arena of chaos and desperation. "Cover!" Jack shouted, pulling Tayla to the ground just as jagged stones came crashing down around them. In the chaos of the rockslide, Tayla's leg was pinned beneath a large boulder. Pain radiated from the twist and crush, leaving her gasping for breath. Jack's heart raced as he fought back panic, quickly assessing the situation. He tugged at Tayla's ankle, trying to clear the stones. Kara hurried to his side, her face set with steely determination, grasping the edges of the boulder as they worked together. "On the count of 3, Jack said, voice strained as they tried to channel their fear into power. Together they heaved with all their might, hands trembling from exertion, until finally, the boulder shifted. Tayla gasped as Jack pulled her free just before another rock tumbled down perilously close to their heads. They scrambled to create a safe distance, adrenaline igniting their instincts. The rubble contained both the physical trauma she experienced and the emotional turmoil ignited by the encounter. She had confronted raw danger, suddenly forced to reflect on her own vulnerability. As they regained their footing, the graven faces of the ancient carvings took on haunting expressions, new meanings emerging in the light of their harrowing experience. Each symbol now bore witness to their struggle, a reminder of the hidden dangers that reverberated through time. Yet, amidst the tumult, an even greater challenge awaited. With a faint sound like claws scraping against stone, a creature emerged from the shadows, a grotesque figure illuminated by the beams of their headlamps. It was a creature resembling a cross between a lizard and a titan, its scales glimmering in unsettling colors, like oil on water, a hue both enchanting yet horrifying. Massive and sinewy, its eyes gleamed with intelligence that sent chills down Tayla's spine. The creature exuded an aura of primal fury, its growls reverberating through the cavern walls. Fear clamped down around Tayla's heart. What was this being? An ancient guardian of these passages? A remnant of those who had once thrived in these depths, or worse, an evolution of beasts that had adapted to survive their isolation. Tayla's mind raced, struggling to focus amidst her growing dread. Do they confront this titan or attempt to slip past? Time was becoming their enemy, every tick echoing with the silent reminder of Hopper's uncertainty, intensifying their anxiety. Their perceptions of time were in flux within this constraining cave, a phenomenon that bound them to an age where survival was tenuous at best. Suddenly, with a feral roar, the creature swiped a claw towards them, narrowly missing Jack as he dove to the side, avoiding what could have been a devastating blow. They were caught in a precarious dance of survival, adrenaline surging through them in waves. In that moment, they were no longer just searching for Hopper. They were fighting not only for their survival but also for their understanding of reality. Each turn challenged their ethical beliefs about exploration, humanity, and the cost of discovery. What would it mean to venture forth among unknown dangers if they lost themselves within? Despite their perilous predicaments, Tayla's resolve to rescue Hopper burned brightly. Driven not merely by duty but a fundamental belief that every life, every choice mattered, she called for Jack and Kara to retreat to safer ground amidst the dizzying chaos of their surroundings. She wasn't ready to give in to despair. Their journey held vital truths, waiting to be uncovered. As they repositioned themselves, seeking refuge among the jagged rock formations, a quiet hum began to resonate through the cave, slowly building in intensity. It felt like the very heartbeat of the earth beneath their feet, pulsing rhythmically against their urgency. "Do you feel that?" Kara said, breathless with realization as she noticed small luminescent crystals emerging from the surrounding rocks, pulsating to match the deeper cadence that flowed around them. The damp air within the cave thickened, wrapping around Tayla, Jack, and the others like a suffocating shroud. Sinking realization knotted in their stomachs as shadows began to dance at the edges of their vision. Time had betrayed them. While merely hours had slipped past since they entered, eons lay in wait outside. The once identifiable voices of reason were lost amid echoes that whirled in dizzying circles, driving wedges between them. Tension clung to the air, oppressive and tangible, as stark terror seeped into the crevices of their minds. Amid the harsh, echoing silence, the explorers gathered at the crossroads of fear and uncertainty. Tayla looked at Jack, who appeared pale and weary, their eyes glazed with disbelief. Each member bore their own weight of paralyzing thoughts. How many generations had roamed the earth while they remained frozen in this temporal purgatory? What had they sacrificed in their relentless pursuit of discovery? They had set off to uncover secrets of the past, yet found themselves shackled by the very nature of time they hoped to unravel. "How long?" Jack asked, the cracking tone of his voice revealing his rising agitation. "Long enough for ancient creatures to roam outside," Tayla replied, her pulse quickening as she felt the weight of every heartbeat reverberate in the stillness around them. As if on cue, wisps of movement caught their attention from deeper within the cavern's stone maw. Fear exploded as the group dared to peer into the shadows. Moments later, a series of low, guttural growls reverberated, grating against their senses like nails on a chalkboard. Pale reflections of ghostly figures began to emerge, primitive creatures with elongated limbs and frayed features, their skin shimmering in iridescent hues that felt both grotesque and enchanting. "Back, we need to retreat," Jack shouted, taking a step back as their primal instincts took over. But as they pivoted to escape, the creatures rushed forward, their wide, reflective eyes filled with an inscrutable intelligence that momentarily paralyzed the explorers with conflicting feelings of dread and curiosity. In the chaos, Tayla stumbled, sending her pack crashing to the floor. A cacophony of horrifying snarls rushed toward her like a breaking wave. She felt their hot, breathy anticipation, a raw hunt for survival echoing in the cave. The echoes bonded with her fight or flight response, and instinct screamed for her to run. But she'd not escape this time. Strong limbs encircled her waist, the cool, sudden touch of an encroaching shadow filled her with visceral panic. As the creatures hurled themselves into her personal space, within moments they were almost upon her. Jack lunged, grabbing Tayla just as the creatures closed in, wrestling her backward to safety. They fell into the cold, unyielding stone of the cave, only separating as the creatures lost focus and began to rush around them, driven by senses primal and unbridled. With newfound urgency, Tayla turned to Jack, breathless and wide-eyed. "We can't let them overtake us. We have to regroup." The resolve in her voice cut through the fear, igniting a spark of hope amid an impending abyss. Dazed but undeterred, the group shuffled backward, their eyes darting for an escape route. With each harrowing moment feeling like an eternity, the primal creatures surrounded their space, chittering and clicking with a wild abandon. It was as if they had stepped into a collision of past and future, where time unraveled to expose nature in its most feral state. For a brief moment, just as despair began to tighten its grip, something unexpected happened. Out of the depths, a colossal figure emerged, a being unlike any they'd ever encountered. It stood tall and ethereal, cloaked in garments spun of stars and shadows, its skin glimmering with a quiet luminescence that seemed to shift with its pulse. Silvery tendrils swept gracefully from its head and cascaded like waterfalls of light. The alien's immense size presented an awe-inspiring yet overwhelming presence. Wisps of energy radiated off it, leaving the air humming with warmth, and it tilted its head, revealing deep-set eyes that gleamed with knowledge. Unfurling its massive wings, the figure bore a presence that urged the creatures around them to retreat. "It knows," Tayla breathed, clutching Jack's arm, feeling the serrated edges of fear dull in response to the alien's power. "It has come to save us." As the confusion of the earlier chaos dissolved, the alien lifted its arms in an expansive gesture. Shapes of light began entwining around the explorers, illuminating their path with dazzling fragments of color. Each shifting hue infused them with an overwhelming sense of safety, although a thread of uncertainty lingered in Tayla's mind. What price would they have to pay for such assistance? The alien's voice, though silent, resonated deep within their minds, communicating a kind of understanding that transcended spoken language. Images flooded their consciousness, the swirling cosmos, strings of time stretching infinitely, the raw and chaotic rapture of creation. The temporal anomalies they had observed felt like mere shadows against the vastness of what lay before them. This being, this guardian of temporal knowledge, presented them with a choice. But rather than guiding them directly toward escape, it revealed rippling tunnels of possibility branching off from their current circumstances. Each path they could take bore unimaginable consequences, constructing ripples back through time and future alike. Should we stay and learn? Jack pondered aloud, glancing around at his companions, eyes wide with wonder. Or should we risk everything to follow its guidance into the unknown? A collective silence fell as they stood tangling with conflicting emotions. Curiosity clawed at them from all fronts while fear wrapped around their hearts like shackles. Another moment passed in languor, weighed down by the countless potential repercussions of each choice. The cave continued to pulse with a life of its own, the ancient stones whispering secrets of the universe just beyond the reach of their senses. The alien shifted, its long fingers stroking the billowing light surrounding it, contemplating their decision as if it could sense the ebb and flow of their thoughts. But with every fleeting second, the energy in the air sharpened, an unrelenting reminder of their mortality, their collective anxiety gnawing at the edges of their determination. As time raced forward, the group closed ranks, a tapestry woven of past pain and future hopes. Yet, the clarity of their predicament only deepened the rift within them. The shadows outside loomed ever closer, pregnant with uncertainty, while inside the cavern, they witnessed shifting energies that could unlock unimaginable secrets or seal their fate forever. In that moment, just as they resolved to act, the aliens' shimmering light began to flicker and wane, pulling back toward the dark recesses of the cave. Amid the damp air of the cave, a chorus of unsettling sounds echoed through the stone corridors, each noise a reminder of the dangers lurking within the shadows. Shadows. Tayla, her heart pounding, took a deep breath, trying to mask her fear. The unusual flora glowed faintly in response to her presence, casting eerie shadows on the walls like ancient sentinels of forgotten worlds. The bioluminescent mushrooms pulsed with life, illuminating her path with a surreal, otherworldly glow as if guiding her towards an unseen nadir. Her thoughts twisted in the whirlwind of adrenaline as the primal instincts of survival sharpened her focus. The group had encountered creatures native to the cave system, unfathomable beings that scuttled across the rocky ground, their eyes catching the light in sharp, unsettling glimmers. An encounter they had not anticipated. As they stumbled upon a nest of these primitive creatures, each as small as a human hand but with an unsettling array of limbs and appendages, panic rushed through Tayla like ice water. They resembled a blend of crab and insect, with chitinous exoskeletons that reflected the cave's strange lights. Suddenly, one of these creatures lunged at her, jaws snapping, as if perceiving her as a threat. In a desperate attempt to avoid its grip, Tayla stumbled, her foot slipping against the mossy underbelly of the cave. She barely sidestepped, but the creature's momentum continued, and then chaos erupted. Jack and Kara, instinctively leaping to her aid, found themselves embroiled in a flurry of claws and frantic movements as they attempted to fend off the assault. The line they had drawn between vulnerability and savagery blurred, the urgency of their survival igniting their primal instincts. The cacophony of clawing limbs and guttural growls echoed in the enclosed space as Tayla felt her resolve wavering. The unity within their group began to crumble, fear pulsed through them, hostile and invasive. Just as the creatures overwhelmed their senses, an ominous shadow swept into the fray. A figure so colossal it dwarfed the melee of chaos, its presence radiated power and an unearthly grace. As the dust settled, revealing this behemoth from the depths, the being stood tall, its skin shimmered like liquid metal under the ethereal light, shifting colors that seemed to tell a story that transcended language. It bore features both alien and familiar, eyes wide and luminous, showing depths of emotion, wisdom, and ferocity. This creature, this cosmic entity, emanated a quiet but intense pulse of energy, capturing the explorer's collective fear and transforming it into awe. The clash of conflict stilled, replaced by silence as the explorers and the alien locked eyes, a moment suspended in the continuum of time. The stunning shift sparked a minute of clarity among the chaos, a shared recognition of existence. "I am Faruka," it finally declared, its voice resonating like the tolling of a grand bell, echoing through the cave's walls. Tales of its race spoke of ancient wisdom and advanced technologies. They had mastered the manipulation of time and space, creating mechanisms that defied the laws the explorers thought immutable. However, understanding didn't come easy. The prospect of knowledge, infinite and transformative, bore weight. Alone in their dilemma, Tayla and her companions faced a profound ethical quandary. Should they risk staying in this cavernous labyrinth of time and space to accept the aliens' invitation to unveil ages of knowledge, or should they prioritize the escape, returning to a world that awaited them beyond the darkness? As they pondered, contradictory thoughts arose within each member of the group. Would the gain of such knowledge justify the price they might pay? The deeper the wisdom, the more complex the moral pathways appeared. Some craved answers about the nature of existence, to understand why time folded in upon itself, but others feared the potential loss of their humanity. Moreover, uncertainty wove through their collective consciousness. Would immersing themselves in the aliens' secrets mean surrendering to the influences of predatory knowledge? Their awareness existed in a precarious balance, teetering between temptation and despair. As fear furrowed deeper lines into their brows, dark thoughts invaded their minds. Could they unravel secrets they weren't ready to comprehend? Faruka moved closer, each step echoing with an ancient resonance that reverberated through the cave's depths. Time is but the fabric woven by perception, it offered, its tone imbued with significance. The knowledge you seek comes with understanding. Will you remain stable amid the turbulence of what may come? An inquiry more profound than it seemed. Tayla's heart raced as she grappled with its implications. Would absolute understanding reveal clarity or veracity? The weight of the decision hung heavily upon them, its ramifications swirling in the air thick with ambiguity. In the midst of this haunting crossroads, reverberations sprang forth as the very structure of reality shifted about them. A disorienting sight, the cave walls pulsing rhythmically, mimicking the heartbeat of the universe itself. The explorers stood at the intersection of their past and the vast unknown of the future. As their decision loomed closer, an instant understanding struck Tayla. Their time within the cave had transformed them. It had awakened a depth of longing and apprehension. The past and present, entwined within their souls, transformed the quest for escape into something of profound significance. They weren't merely trapped, they were on the verge of profound evolution amidst omnipotence. With fear and exhilaration entwined, each member faced the creature who towered above them. This entity speaking of knowledge and time, waiting for their choice. But the hesitation unveiled the fleeting nature of certainty, and in that moment, everything hung in a precipice. Just then, the air quaked, a violent tremor ran through the cavern, and the atmosphere turned electric. The symphony of uncertainty crescendoed, urging them to descend further into the depths. Would they grasp the aliens' offer, venturing deeper into knowledge fraught with peril, or escape the cave, taking a chance on uncertain futures? As the ground heaved and rocks crumbled above them, voices echoed in question, nameless whispers that seemed to come from every direction, warning them of the consequences yet to unfold. The group braced against the tumult surrounding them, caught between the unknowns, the exhilaration of the untold and the heavy weight of their conscious decision. Caught in the quicksand of their own choices, they lingered at the threshold of an answer. Would they unravel the tapestry of existence or retreat to the familiar, the comfort of known fears? Time slipped away, twisting around their ankles like the very roots of the cavern, pulling them into the abyss of possibility and uncertainty, leaving their fate teetering at the edge of revelation. And then, amid the cacophony of their minds, the lights faded. The tunnel of time ahead shimmered with an ominous allure, beckoning them toward a reality yet unfathomable. As the tension reached a fever pitch, the explorers felt an electric charge in the air, mingled with the scent of antiquity and the metallic tang of possibility. The cavern pulsed with an otherworldly energy, the walls seemingly breathing with them, their apprehensive yet eager hearts syncing with the ancient rhythm of time and space. Hopper, Tayla, Jack, and their allies gathered in a tight circle around the colossal alien figure, their minds racing as they exchanged unspoken thoughts. The atmosphere shimmered like the surface of a bubble about to burst, cloaked in uncertainty yet steered by an unyielding determination to transcend their grim reality. The alien, towering over them, bore a skin that shimmered in iridescent hues, a ripple of colors that hinted at the vast knowledge it held. With gestures both graceful and deliberate, It showed them the mechanisms that pulsed with light, imbued with the essence of time itself. The intricate devices seemed to hum with a consciousness of their own, the air around them crackling as if the very fabric of reality was waiting to be rewritten. It was as if they stood before the heart of a star, a nexus of potential where destinies converged. Their hands were trembling, grappling with the weight of the technology laid before them. Questions swirled in their minds like the dark shadows that lurked in the cave's recesses. Each explorer felt an insistent pull toward the promise of salvation and the allure of forbidden secrets. They were caught in the storm of their desires, the desire to find Hopper's family pulsating intensely, desperate to reconnect. Unbeknownst to them, however, the balance between salvation and obliteration hung by a thread. Tayla, her fierce spirit reignited by the discovery, stepped forward. With voice steady yet laden with emotion, she urged the group to harness this newfound strength. The zeal to learn ignited a fire in her chest. She felt the echoes of hope and despair entwined in the aliens' presence, urging them to embrace what lay ahead. "We're not just searching for answers," she declared fiercely. "We're at the threshold of rewriting our fate. If we tap into this power, we may reclaim both the past and our lost futures." As they exchanged determined glances, a fierce resolve enveloped them. They formed a chain of unbreakable trust, a testament to their shared experiences. Jack, ever the strategist, took the lead, proposing a method by which they would channel the alien technology. Each step would be fraught with uncertainty, but this was no longer a mere battle against time and space. It had transformed into something monumental, an odyssey of reclamation. Gathering their collective strength, they positioned themselves around the alien device, each explorer placing their hands upon the glowing surface. The moment their skin brushed against the cold, slick technology, a pulse surged through them, a frenzied dance of old memories and new visions intertwining. Brilliant energies coursed through their veins, igniting dormant powers as time began to stretch and ripple before their very eyes. The echoes of the past resonated deep within them, melding their individual fears with flickers of reclaimed hope. In that moment, they were no longer just a team of explorers. They had transformed into the catalysts of change, a collective force capable of reshaping the fabric of their reality. Twisting and bending time, they channeled their emotions and desires into the alien energy source, aligning themselves with the power that had been bestowed upon them. The cave around them trembled, reverberating in sync with their blossoming resolve, while visions of the outside world began to materialize, images of lush landscapes, magnificent cities illuminated by stars, and the people they had loved and lost flickered on the fringes of their consciousness. But the sense of triumph was entwined with urgency. The unseen passageways of time yawned wide before them, tugging them toward the brink of a decisive moment. A swell of primordial fear washed over the group, for deep within, they felt the threat of becoming shadows themselves, lost in the ongoing turmoil of an eternally slipping past. It weighed on their spirits, but they refused to falter. With new conviction, they placed their individual fears onto the altar of the alien technology, forging them into pathways illuminated by hope. Breathless, they pressed on, monuments to the power of unity against calamity. Just as they were about to unleash their joint essence upon the alien device, a shift occurred. The alien, revered yet commanding, sent forth a shockwave of insight. Its essence became entwined with theirs, further solidifying their connection as the ground beneath them began to quake. Time twisted violently, and the cave seemed to dissolve around them, yielding to the merging of multiple temporal constructs. They felt the very marrow of existence bend under the weight of their collective desires. Hopper's yearning to see his family again, Tayla's fierce will to protect her friends, and Jack's unwavering loyalty amidst chaos. Pulling together, they unleashed the energy stored in the device. A blinding light enveloped them, illuminating the dark corners of the cavern and washing over them like the dawn of a new era. When the cacophony of explosions subsided, the explorers found themselves free from the cave's grasp but suspended in a shimmering void where time and space melded yet again. Their hearts raced, not from fear, but from the realization of what they had achieved. Beneath the cosmic web woven by their actions lay vast, uncharted territories glimmering with the essence of potential. They had rewritten their fate, but now the greatest question remained. What awaited them on the other side? As they collectively reached out to grasp the limitless horizon, a sense of peace settled over them, both ephemeral and eternal. Each second felt monumental as they stepped aboard the vessel that appeared before them, forged from intergalactic dreams yet resonating with a familiar warmth. They had broken free not just from the cave, but from the shackles of despair that bound them to their past. Gazing into the void, they were met with sprawling galaxies unfurling like petals, brimming with promise and peril. The unknown stretched before them like an exquisite tapestry waiting to be woven with stories untold. And as they took the helm of their newfound ship, a final thought lingered in the very fabric of their adventure. While they had ventured into the depths of despair and uncertainty, the essence of their journey remained sacred. The bonds of love formed in crisis, the indestructible essence of companionship that would guide them into the enigmatic future. Somewhere in the cosmos, the shadows of their past flickered playfully, challenging their reach for the stars. Yet, with the weight of each revelation came the reassurance that their adventure had only just begun. The final echo of time whispered through the vast unknown, an everlasting reminder. Sometimes, the journey into mystery is just as vital as the destination sought, and the true essence of freedom lies in the courage to embrace it all, no matter where it leads. If you liked this story based on real events, subscribe to our channel and don't forget to like it. Here you can dive into a different reality every day, where anything can happen. Comment below what kind of story you would like to hear here. Thank you very much for your attention. We are the Sci-Fi family.